my name is Victoria James. I'm an animal trainer and behaviourist, and we're here in beautiful France in the region of Languedoc-Roussillon. Just to the right of me we've got the Pont du Gard, which is a Roman aqueduct. It used to supply a big town near to here called Nîmes. It's a fantastic venue, and it took 1,000 people to build over 5 years. Well, I have a practice here in France, and I've also had a practice in the UK, and I've been working with animals for many years now, and I've been very privileged to work with bottlenose dolphins, harbour seals, also Moroccan cockatoos, scarlet macaws, and also umbrella cockatoos, crocodiles, Burmese pythons, and many more. I've loved working with the animals that I've worked with over the years, and animal behaviour and training is something I'm very passionate about. Within my practice, I've worked with many domestic species, from rabbits to cats to dogs to ferrets, hamsters, and all different animals. And I love seeing the positive change that the behaviour management has on their behaviour, and also the bonds that their owners have with them. My methods very much focus on shaping good behaviour and really focusing on building a good bond, also providing the correct environment as well. This is very important. One of the methods that I do use is providing an enrichment schedule, so getting clients to get a good toy box, to get some good toys that provide good mental and physical stimulation. This allows a pet to start to feel successful. If they can manipulate toys and achieve rewards, this will then make the dog or your cat or your ferret feel confident that they can manipulate an item, affect their environment, and also be successful in achieving rewards. It also provides great mental and physical stimulation, and if this is not provided, this is what can lead to many behavioural problems, including stereotype behaviour. Stereotype behaviour is just the behaviour that an animal will carry out repetitively in order to cope with their environment. If there is something that is incorporating stress into their environment, or they're not mentally or physically stimulated, they may carry out stereotype behaviour as a result. Physiological causes can also lead to stereotype behaviour. For example, if your dog has a sore, they may constantly lick this. This may not be due to environment, but it may be down just to a physiological cause, such as an injury. However, if an environment is not clean, that can be the environment which causes a sore, and then will consequently cause the stereotype behaviour. So environment is very important in allowing your pet to feel confident, in order to make them feel they can affect their environment. And something that was typically seen with human prisoners was if they're kept in solitary confinement, they will actually start to pace. And this pacing behaviour is very similar to what we see in many animals. They will actually carry out this behaviour repetitively in order to cope with their environment, and prisoners kept in solitary confinement have also been seen to display this behaviour. Some other typical stereotype behaviours are feather plucking, where your parrot may constantly pluck its feathers. It could also be licking, scratching, chasing a tail. It could be constant barking. It could be also crib biting if you have a horse, or kicking the stable doors. These are all signals that perhaps environment is not sufficient, or there could be a physiological cause. When I work with a client, the first thing I do is work cooperatively with the vet so that any physiological cause can be ruled out. I very much like to focus on shaping behaviour, using environment, enriching environment, and using positive training tools in order to treat behavioural problems, but also to prevent behavioural problems too. Medication is sometimes very helpful, but only really needs to be used if there is a physiological cause, or if it is absolutely necessary in order to complement any training or any behavioural therapy that's being provided. I love working with these animals that I work with, and I really love to support and encourage my clients, and I use various different tools in order to do that. I use training diaries in order that owners can record their training and also feel reinforced as they're carrying on with their training from day to day. Often when you're working with your pet, we're very close to them, and when they're not behaving in a way that we want them to behave, we can sometimes really take it personally, and we really don't want to think that our pet doesn't love us, or doesn't want to carry out behaviour to please us. So often carrying out a diary and recording how your training's going can really be self-reinforcing for an owner. You can see that maybe that day that you were training wasn't great, but you can see the previous 2 days were fantastic, and that can then start to encourage you to do more training and to look at your training in perspective. When training as well, it's very important to plan your training, and that's why I also do a little diary with my clients so they can plan what they're going to train each day, and also record the behaviours that they've actually done with their pet within a training session. If I walked out onto a stage with 3 sea lions, with a bucket of fish, with all my training aids, including my whistle and my target, which you'll see later, and I didn't really have a plan on what I was going to train, I'd be very unconfident in my body language, and the sea lions really wouldn't know what they were supposed to be doing. So it's really, really important that you have a good plan in your head of what you're going to train and how you're going to train for certain behaviours, and that way your behaviour will be confident and you'll know exactly what you're going to train with your pet. Often if you're very, very nervous, your pet will read this behaviour. So it's very, very important to be confident with your pet and make deliberate body movements. Also, when you're starting to build a bond and you're starting to improve the behaviour of your pet, what you'll find is that your confidence will naturally improve. And as your confidence naturally improves, your pet's confidence will improve, and that starts to build the path to a cooperative relationship and good behaviour from your pet. Often when I work with clients, I go out with walks on them, we practice heel work, we do leave commands with other dogs, and we do various types of training, and it's all based around positive professional methods. Clicker training and the use of whistles is something that has descended from marine mammal training and is now being incorporated within the domestic animal environment. It's very, very effective, and with a clicker your voice never stays constant throughout the day, whereas a clicker, the sound of that clicker will remain constant all the time. It's also very quick and very, very effective in terms of building behaviour and training behaviour. One other method that I use when I train is desensitisation training. This allows a pet to become comfortable with something that it may have previously felt fearful of through the process of training. So I would use a clicker. Every time the dog was less fearful of a particular item, a particular stimulus, it could be a bicycle, a sound, another dog, I would click and reinforce. This way I can gradually over time train that dog to feel more comfortable with that particular item. And when I train, I also use a method called shaping, which just really means that I'm going to shape behaviour step by step. The same in which you build a house, you build brick upon brick. When I train a behaviour, I build stage upon stage. For example, if I were training a dolphin to do a jump out of the water on command, I would first of all use a target. A target is a stick with basically a ball on the end, and we train pets and different types of exotic animals to touch their nose onto the end of the target. When they will put their part of their body onto the target on command, when the target command is given, this means that we can start to train more complex behaviours. For example, when I'm going to train a dolphin to jump out of the water on command, I will first of all train the dolphin to place its rostrum, that's its nose, onto the end of the target. Each time I will raise the target higher and higher out of the water, and until I can achieve a full jump. So as a dolphin knows that it's got to touch its nose to the end of the target, it will follow the target into a jump behaviour, and this can be done over several weeks. Sometimes behaviours may take years to train depending on their complexity. Once the jump behaviour has been performed, then I can gradually start to reduce the use of the target and gradually add in a command or a hand signal. Typically I would use, in this case, a hand signal. Eventually the dolphin will then just respond to the one cue, which is the hand signal. That cues the dolphin to do a jump. It knows that when that hand signal is given, that they know they have to carry out a jump behaviour. I will then follow with a bridge signal, which typically is a whistle, and then I would reward with a piece of fish. The way in which I've trained that behaviour is through shaping, just building it stage by stage. So each time the dolphin has achieved one stage of the behaviour, I can move on to the next, and each time progress. The important thing with shaping is to always work upwards. Sometimes animals do forget, so it is important to retrace some of those steps, and you may have to start from square one to retrain a behaviour. But on the whole, what we want to do is always ask our pet to carry out more. If you're asking your pet or you're asking any animal to carry out a minimum of a behaviour, for example just asking your dog to sit and you click and reward each time, your pet is just learning to carry out the minimum type of behaviour, or put the minimum effort into behaviour. So what we do when we're shaping is we increasingly ask our pets to carry out more behaviour, and this way we can really encourage them and motivate them to do more. But what happens if I was training that dolphin that I mentioned previously, using a target and teaching that dolphin to jump? If I had rewarded that dolphin for jumping just a short distance when I knew that it had achieved a higher jump, then I would actually be training the dolphin to do less. So it's very important to always train higher and higher stages of the behaviour, never to work backwards. My primary aim is really to improve animal welfare, get my message out there, and show people that you don't have to use punishment. Punishment is not the way, that training can be tremendous fun. You don't have to domineer your pet. It's all about training using positive methods, using professional methods, which are really easy to use at home. And I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and that you've enjoyed hearing about the different methods that I use.